Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner, along with Todd Villalobos, filling in for Mr. Steve Perez. Todd, good to see you. Are you ready to pick up your Brian Dutcher bobblehead this Saturday at the UNLV game?
Yeah, historic night at Viejas Arena. Isn't it the first ever bobblehead, Aztec bobblehead down there?
I think it's the first one, right? First basketball. Yeah, they've done Donnell Pumphrey, Marshall Faulk. We've got. There have been some other ones, but yeah, I think it's the first, and that surprises me. You think it would be like Kawhi Leonard or somebody like that, but or Steve Fisher.
You know, at the Daily Aztec, I think they give away Lou Weiner bobblehead dolls down there. So I'm sure you have one down there at the Daily Aztec offices.
Oh yeah, those are worth negative 0.0. So San Diego State coming off that win over Colorado State, Steve, which makes them 4-2 in conference. They're now just a game and a half out of first place. And Miles Byrd coming off a fantastic game, 25 points and 7 rebounds. That's the second most, check that. That was steals, 7 steals in the game, and that's the second most in Aztec history. So he is really coming on, and I think the NBA scouts are starting to pay attention to him, which is sort of bad news for the Aztec fans, huh?
Well, that's just the world we live in now. I mean, there's going to be roster turnover every year, whether or not it's the best case scenario, losing someone to the draft, or graduating, the worst case scenario, losing someone to the transfer portal. It's the world we live in. It's just, especially the mid-majors, it's a battle that's going to happen every year from now on, no matter the sport. That's our lot in life. And you know what? The big schools deal with that too. Losing players and trying to find the next generation to come up and replace them. So if we lose Miles Byrd after this year, it's just the way it goes. And if we lose him to the draft and he's a first-round pick, then that's something that you can be proud of, and you can bring up to the next generation that you're trying to convince to come to the Mesa.
Yeah, and with NIL, in the woodwork, it's great to have any impetus for somebody to come to a school, and getting Kawhi and Miles Byrd in the NBA can't hurt. Yeah, Miles is averaging 15.2 points a game. That leads the Aztecs. And he's shooting 40% from three, Todd. So he is like the best shooter the Aztecs have. And when he goes well, so does the team. When he doesn't, somebody else has to pick it up. And that's usually a hit or miss proposition.
Well, it's good and bad news because you're right. A lot of the other guys have been inconsistent. But the good news is there's a lot of them. So all you need is somebody else to get hot, somebody else to pick up some of the load, and you can still win a ball game against pretty much anybody in the conference, whether it's here or on the road. I know the New Mexico game was ugly, but that's the exception, not the norm. So it's nice to see that the Aztecs once again have a lot of guys that can score. I would like to see them actually fulfill that potential, but it's because you're going to need everybody coming down the stretch and in the tournament.
Yeah, one guy who could be that person is B.J. Davis. Earlier in the season, he was scoring 15, 18 points, and he's quieted down. He's picked up a little bit as of late, but I think he might be the second purest shooter on the team, and if we can get him going, then the Aztecs will have a 1-2 punch with him and Byrd.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Boyd as well. He's supposed to be somebody that can fill it up. I think those guys are going to be okay. What worries me and what has been our Achilles heel so far has been inside play, both offensively and defensively in terms of rebounding. The defensive presence on the inside has been fantastic, but the rebounding and the scoring has been has been pretty sparse, pretty sparse, I should say, and that they really need some production from inside, not just scoring, but rebounding too. They're getting killed on the glass, and that can't continue.
Yeah, well, against New Mexico, I think they got offensive out-rebounded 15-3, but the two previous games against Boise State and I think Utah State, they actually did okay on the offensive boards, so it's kind of hit or miss there. So we'll have to really see if they can turn it around. So, the Aztecs really need to rebound or they're going to be in tough shape, huh?
Yeah, and as Brian Dutcher does every year, the rotation is going to shrink. So we really need to find the guys that are going to contribute. Somebody may get left off of the playing time carousel, but that's just the way it happens with Dutcher every year. And I think that's probably what happens for most teams as the season gets down to the wire. But you know what? He's going to find his rotation of 8 guys, the best 8 guys that are going to play the majority of the minutes. And hopefully the big guys really kind of step up, and hopefully the perimeter shooting starts getting hot.
Yeah, I think Miles Heide is the Aztecs' best offensive rebounder, but he doesn't get a lot of minutes. The 2 leading rebounders on the team, Jared Coleman-Jones with 6.5 a game, and Magoon Gwath with 6 a game. So they've got big guys, but they don't always put themselves in position to grab the defensive rebounds when they really need them.
Yeah, Heide, to me, has been kind of the disappointment. When I saw him play last year as a freshman, boy, I thought, the big, wide body, even as a freshman, could match up with older players and bang down low. He's been a little bit of a disappointment this year. I have not seen that jump that I was hoping he would take. He went scoreless in the game against Colorado State, despite the fact that he did play some minutes. So I really was hoping for him to make a jump this year. It hasn't happened yet, but we're still middle of the season or so. There's still ways to go. He can make up for it, but would love to see Miles Heide turn it on.
Yeah, I think offensively when he is playing, I think he's a little better than he was last year. But you're right, he still has some work to do before he can really, be called one of the top Aztec players on the team. Meanwhile, the conference is really tough this year, as it always is in the Mountain West. And remember, now they're playing 20 conference games as opposed to 18. So everybody plays each other twice this season. And there have been some upsets. UNLV upset Utah State this week. San Jose State upset New Mexico. Both of those happened in San Jose and Vegas. And of course, Utah State came here a couple of weeks ago and beat the Aztecs in a game the Aztecs led by 18 in the first half. And they struggled at the end of the first half and toward the end of the game. And they've been struggling toward the end of the first half a bunch this year. They did it against Colorado State, and they were sort of saved when B.J. Davis hit a bank-in 3 at the buzzer, so that made it a 6-point halftime lead. But the Aztecs have not been able to close either at the end of the game or at the end of the half. And again, when you get into tournament time, you got to fix that.
Well, free throws have been a big part of that, especially in that Utah State game. This is a team that really has played so well free throw wise at the end of games. I mean, for years and years and years. You remember the 5-minute streak that we had that went on forever, and a lot of that had to do with how good the free throw shooting we had in the clutch. Hasn't been there so far. If you remember the Utah State game, I think if I remember correctly, had Miles Bird, who's like a 90% free throw shooter, missed 3 of them. And I think that has to shape up. But what a great weekend for the Aztecs, a win. And then to see Utah State and New Mexico both lose, it kind of vaults the Aztecs right back into the thick of things. You now have 6 teams all within 1 loss of each other. So it's not over yet. The Aztecs have some revenge to get, and I think the second half of the conference season is going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, real quick, you talked about free throws. Pharaoh Compton, who was 5 of 5, I believe, in the game the other day from the field, but from the free throw line, 0 for 7. And at the media availability today, Coach Dutcher basically said Farrah's a good free throw shooter. He shoots them in practice all the time, but if you can't shoot him in the game, then fans will never know. So that's something that anytime he goes to him and Miles Heide, I don't know who's worse. Based on percentage now, probably Compton, but Heidi's not very good either. So when you get these big guys going to the free throw line, especially with the game on the line, it's sort of cringy, what's going to happen,
That comment from Brian Dutcher reminds me of the Chuck Long comment when he said, well, we're really good Sunday through Friday. Well, that doesn't really help you too much on game day. So he can make all the free throws he wants in practice. How about we sink a few in the games?
Yeah, one thing that the Aztecs are dealing with are the metrics. You got the net ranking and the KenPom. Aztecs currently 40 in the net ranking, 34 in the KenPom. And the thing about the net ranking that I've been following is the net ranking loves blowouts. If a team blows a team out, if you're favored by 15 and you win by 24, like you see San Diego did against Long Beach State last night. They went up to Long Beach. They won by like 28 points, and they jumped from 54 to 47 in KenPom. So that's 7 spots just because you won a game by 9 points more than you're supposed to. So I don't think that's really fair, but Dutcher, no, you got to play the game. And today I had the chance to ask him about what it's like dealing with, playing time when you know that the metrics really want you to win by a lot of points. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, you want to play well to the end. You don't want to let a 14-point lead in the last 2 minutes turn into an 8-point win. So I'm not saying you're trying to pour it on, but your standard of play has to stay high throughout the game. And that's if you bring the bench in late in the game, they have to play at a high standard because metrically it matters. And it's the new era of what we're dealing with, and we're trying to find ways not to pour it on an opponent that we know we're going to win, but to continue to play at a high level throughout the 40 minutes.
Does it make it more difficult on you to get some of the players in who may get some floor time but aren't because of that? Does that come into play at all?
For me, it's mostly the walk-ons at the very end. We're playing 10, 11 deep anyway. So to play a lot of guys in a game is not unfamiliar to us. It's playing those guys that don't get any minutes the last couple minutes of the game, making sure that they play hard when they're out there. And it's tough to do. They've sat 38 minutes and they get thrown in the last 2 minutes, and you're telling them play at a high level. But that's what's expected.
Yeah, Dutcher knows how to play these games, veteran coach. These rankings and this type of computer models are relatively new. I think they would probably do better to put some kind of a cap. Maybe a double-digit win just counts for a certain amount of points in your factoring, your computer-generated formula. And once you get above that mark, whether you win by 28 or 29 or 17, maybe it shouldn't really count, because just keeping your players in at the end of a 28-point game to try to get it to 30 seems pretty unfair. Obviously a little bit of a lack of sportsmanship too. Still hucking up threes in a blowout like that. I've seen it cause a few problems in post-game handshake lines so far in other games around the country where coaches have gotten into it and players have gotten into it. And I think that has something to do with, still throwing up threes at the end of games that are blowouts. So I think they could probably tweak that formula to make it, say, look like a double-digit win. It counts for so much, and anything beyond that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, then there's also the quad 1, quad 2. So the Aztecs beat Creighton. That was a neutral court game. So it's a quad 1 game if Creighton is net ranking between 1 and 50. Well, right now Creighton's at 52. So now the Aztecs are hoping that Creighton can win a few. They play UConn this weekend. And if they can win, then that becomes a quad 1 game. So in other games that the Aztecs won, you don't want anything to fall out of a quad 1 to a quad 2. So I think the Aztecs are solidly in if Selection Sunday were today, as they've been the past few years. But the metrics and the quad 1s and 2s, it's a different ball game now, and you really got to play the game and be careful.
Yeah, the Aztecs have obviously a fantastic reputation with the committee. I mean, not a good conference season last year, yet somehow it got the at-large berth. Again, the same thing this year. What if 4th, 5th, or 6th, somewhere around there? And you seem to feel that they're still solidly in. So and then some success in the tournament also helps too. So a lot of conference season to go. Sure would be nice to end up in one of the top 2 or 3 spots and not have to rely necessarily on a Mountain West Conference tournament deep run like we did last year. So they got some work ahead of them, but I think things shape up for them pretty good.
Yeah, now the Aztecs get to watch the good teams beat up on each other. Boise and New Mexico play Friday night, and those teams one of those teams has to lose. So that's always an advantage when you're looking up those teams and hoping for losses. So they'll beat it up. They'll beat up on each other as they will all conference season.
Well, just win, baby. Just keep stacking those wins. New Mexico Saturday, who's only beaten one team, and thankfully it was last weekend, one team in the top 100. I think they were 9-0 against teams outside the top 100, and 0-7 against teams inside the top 100 before their win against Utah State. So just keep stacking those wins, and the metrics will work themselves out.
Absolutely. And you talked about the deep bench the Aztecs have this year. One of those guys coming off the bench is Wayne McKinney, who Aztecs fans know from a few years at USD. And he played, of course, in the West Coast Conference where, they were often beat up by Gonzaga and St. Mary's. So I had the chance to ask Wayne today about what it's like coming from the West Coast Conference where, USD is one of the bottom dwellers to coming to the Mountain West Conference where San Diego State is one of the better teams. Here's what he had to say.
Definitely a big difference. Where I was at USD, we were always necessarily not the top of the food chain, middle pack, lower line, but we always came out and tried to do whatever we could to get wins. But, playing teams like that, Gonzaga and St. Mary's, they're always ranked top 10 or top 20 at the time. So that's a lot different as compared to now, being the team everybody wants to beat in this league. It's still everybody's giving us their best shot. Everybody's working as hard as they can to beat us. So, roles have been flipped for me to see how everybody's, working as hard to beat us.
Yeah, it was a nice get for the Aztecs, stealing McKinney away from USD, but that's the way it goes. I mean, the Aztecs have been the big dog in the Mountain West for a while. Better to be on top and have the atmosphere and the excitement and everywhere you go on the road, the sellouts, than be on the bottom and kind of have to get up for games only a couple times a year. So hopefully he's had a good experience this year, and that's what it's like playing for the Aztecs, man. As long as we got this run going, and it's been 20-something years in the Fisher-Dutcher era, and as long as we keep that going and we're the big dogs, then it's always going to be exciting every time you play.
Yep, hopefully McKinney can, he's scoring better, so hopefully he can keep that up as the conference season continues. And that will wrap up this edition of Aztecs All In. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate Todd joining us today. And for Steve Perez, I'm Lois Weiner. Please follow us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also drop us a line, aztecsallin@gmail.com, or follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. So for Todd, Steve Perez, I'm Lois Weiner. Until next time, so long.